The crippling drug addiction will not come up, I hope.
Hi, it's friendship celebration time, and today I am here celebrating my friend Michael Micheletti. So celebrate fanfare. Do you get that a lot? Do you get lots of fanfare wherever you go?
Not particularly, no. Depending on the circumstance, it's here comes Michael.
So is that more like an on stage or an at work thing, or like just every...
The fanfare or the uh-oh?
Oh, the uh-oh.
More at work, or when I was a teacher.
Oh, yeah, the teaching, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. I lost one of my classes. So
you lost a class?
Yeah, so here's what happened. A couple of them. So I had 2 classes in Hazel Park that I was going to be teaching, and Hazel Park those are postponed because they want to get more of their administration involved. Mm-hmm. And so they're postponing meetings that needed to be had before the classes begin. So those are being pushed back to October.
Okay.
So I don't have my Tuesday night or my Wednesday morning classes. And then I just got an email earlier today that my Wednesday class in St. Clair Shores, unless they get a few more people signed up for it, they're going to merge it with the Friday class. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to have a Monday and a Friday class. Then I'm not going to have my Wednesday class either. So
you'll only have Monday. Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I would like to, get the hours and teach the other classes and stuff, especially because the 2 that are missing are the ones that are strictly improv.
Oh, I see.
Which is unfortunate.
They're not really missing, they're just postponed.
The one is so the 2 Hazel Park, one's the improv and one's the Reader's Theater that I had mentioned to you before. And then the other one is like the Wednesday one that might entirely be canceled and merged. That one is an improv one. So I hope that we get enough students, like the day of or something, that decide they want to do it.
What's the cutoff? How many?
I'm not sure. I need to ask our site director what... she's the one who emailed me about it. So I don't know what the limit is. But last year I ran a class with 2 students. And they probably want more than that this time.
Generally speaking.
But we did pull it off. We did put on an improv show with 2 students. Because then we also had a couple of our teachers in with it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So that was fun. So... I'm sure if you've seen any of the episodes of this, you might know that I start by asking if you remember how we met.
I do remember meeting you for the first time. It depends on how you qualify meeting, because you were in one of the in-person improvs at MDI when we were at Barefoot. But I don't know how much of interaction we had in that first one. You were one of the people in the crowd, and I tend to be quiet at those sometimes.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. Did you go the first time that they went back in person? Or
No,
did you miss that one?
I missed that one.
Okay, then, yeah, because I think it was
like the improv show.
Well, it was the one you ran, you were doing 2 Gentlemen of Livonia.
Yes,
at that time?
And I ran it very quickly. And I didn't have anything prepared. I just kind of did
okay.
I just kind of winged it off the top of my head because I had forgotten the bell. And at the last minute, I got told I was leading it, so I was like, well, I have 30 minutes to make something up.
That worked well, but yeah, that was it was either that or if you were there when Steve was running. It was one of those 2.
It's funny because I couldn't remember exactly which one. I knew it was one of those as well. The first distinct meeting I have of you is we had done the show at Barefoot, and you kind of popped your head back in from... We were backstage, and you popped your head back, and you were like, hey, MDI, you did a really great job. I just wanted to tell you that.
Yeah.
That was the first... I was like, I recognize him from the improv meetings, but I haven't really... at that point, we were still all masked, so I hadn't really seen you without a mask.
When you were doing 2 Gentlemen of Livonia, I was in the front row, and there was a part where you were addressing, you were doing some monologue or something, and you were looking right at me as if you were saying it. So I was like, I wonder if he remembers me from that improv type thing that he saw me at.
I've done that a few times, not intentionally picked someone out, but when I was talking to the crowd, if I notice someone, I'm making eye contact, or it doesn't bother me. Some people say they have to avoid it entirely.
Yeah. So with when you were doing Death, when we were doing Emotional Baggage, I remember you doing that with people
couldn't
as
see
well.
a thing though. It depends on which part of death. If it was death when I had the mask on,
Oh yeah.
it was a miracle I didn't fall.
Oh no, what was it that I forget which part, but I do know that it might have been. Oh yeah, it was with the in the life and death part. It was in that part where you were like addressing people, I think. I think it was, I don't know. I was in pain. I don't know.
If it was the first night, you certainly were. I don't know how you kept going.
I mean, the pain ended up going from the, like, I was still in pain the other nights, but it wasn't like the immediate pain from the first night.
I remember being in the lobby as you walked back, and all I see is you rubbing your knees, and I was like, what happened? Did you trip and fall? And you're like, oh yeah, no, I tripped real bad. And then you lifted up your pants, and I was like, well, thank God they're red.
Yes. That was foresight on our director's costuming choices. Yeah, foresight. That's how you're like, Jason might end up very bloodied during this production.
That's generally why I put certain people in red outfits. You know.
Anyone in red, you intend on physical pain for them.
I want you to wear the red shirt and stand underneath the piano. Why? Don't think too much about it.
So, I know that you've been very busy pretty much ever since I met you. Mm-hmm. And so now you have, from what I think, being that you aren't involved in any other major shows or anything like that, do you have free time now?
A little bit. I'm taking care of more things like cleaning up that I haven't had a chance to do.
Oh, okay.
And just managing little hobbies I've had. But it is more doing specific things that just I like.
Okay.
As opposed to thinking, well, I have to make this costume, paint that set, talk to this person about doing this show, arrange things. Which doesn't mean that, by the way, doesn't mean all of that's disappeared. There are still some lingering obligations I'm taking care of, but it's a lot more personal stuff as opposed to show stuff.
Okay. So what are you able to relax with now?
There are a couple of different things. Like I haven't got a chance to start reading yet, but there are a couple of books that I've wanted to read. Some of them are Sherlock Holmes. Some of them are just like random books about different topics, like textbooks or like different things that go into analysis.
Okay.
I haven't got a chance to do that. I've done some like collecting hobbies and painting again. I'm trying to finish up collecting all the figurines for Gargoyles, which is the TV show from the 90s. And I've got all of them. The last one I'm waiting for is Lexington.
Okay, they're re-releasing the remastering the Gargoyles game.
I just saw that on Monday or Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
And I distinctly no, it wasn't. It was I saw it Sunday, and I saw it and I was like this. So that game, I watched the movie. It's a movie, but it's the first like 5 episodes of the TV show.
Oh, okay.
And it came out on a VHS. And they made it like it was a movie. And
they did that with Ninja Turtles as well.
It's a thing they do with a lot of TV shows. So like they try to make the pilot be like a movie.
Okay.
So that like you get hooked and then you watch the rest of the show. Like there was the Buzz Lightyear of Star Command.
Oh.
Which infamously, or I don't know infamously or not, but it had Tim Allen in the home release movie. But when they turned it back into TV episodes, they redubbed it, or maybe I take that back. They had Patrick Warburton do the dubbing for the TV show.
Okay.
When they made it into the movie, they hired Tim Allen to reprise his role, and he complained the whole way through, like, this is the normal cadence that I say things, I had to go really fast. So
yeah, because he was the character and not the toy that time? Is that what...
A little bit of both. It's just like, if you ever heard Patrick Warburton do it, he's got that very, like... That's a very strange way to do it. Like, he's got like a very particular cadence, and Tim Allen does not have that cadence.
See, I didn't know that Tim Allen even did the the movie part. Yeah. I knew that he wasn't involved in the TV show, but I thought it was Patrick Warburton and both.
It is, well, yeah, but I found it. So there was a point where I have all the episodes of that too.
Oh, okay.
And I specifically wanted the one with Tim Allen because I remember that one as a kid being like, oh, they made the movie with Tim Allen, and then in the show it's Patrick Warburton. And there's a distinct, like both of them are good, but there's a distinct difference in how they play that character.
Yeah, that's like how when I saw Patrick Warburton like in the, I think it was 2001 or something when he was the Tick. Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that?
So about him as Tick, I thought that I'm gonna mess up his name, but Peter Serafinowicz or something.
Oh, yeah.
I'm probably butchering his name, but I loved how he did the Tick. I thought Patrick Warburton did it as was better for like the comical version of the Tick, but when they brought it to be a little more serious, I thought that they made a good choice not using Patrick Warburton for that one, even though a lot of people were really like, hey, why isn't Patrick Warburton still the Tick?
Yeah. No, so ironically, the cartoon TV show was on when I was a kid, and it was on when I was like in high school. They had brought it back on to Toon Disney or Jet Set. Well, not Jet Set, but Jetix.
Oh, okay. And I know they had it on Comedy Central as well.
I wasn't allowed to watch that.
Oh, okay.
Or not allowed, just we didn't have it on our cable.
Yeah.
But I never actually really watched the cartoon, and I was like, I want to watch this. So I actually watched it with the Peter Serafinowicz TV show.
Okay.
And I thought that was pretty good. It kind of ended in a spot where I was like, oh, I want to know what's going on. I'm sad that it stopped.
There was supposed to be a season 3. I read all about what happened there and why, there was a situation where it got canceled. But yeah, I agree with you. It should have continued.
I just can't get over the fact that Rorschach is the Terror.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
That's Rorschach from the Watchmen.
Yeah.
He's doing that voice, so you can't really tell it's him, which is like called the really, really dry, grumpy old man. But I thought Peter Serafinowicz did a good job, and then I watched the Patrick Warburton one immediately after it. And I also enjoyed that, but it was like an Adam West kind of a thing. Like if there was a raunchy Adam West. So I didn't mind either one of those. I thought, oh, this is what the Tick is, and I can get into both of these. Like, the Patrick Warburton one kind of felt a little bit more directionless, but it was also more situational. So
the episodes were like single story episodes in that one,
And even those though, like it's like the Tick just happens to be there and stuff is happening too.
Oh, right, yeah.
So then I tried to watch the cartoon. And after getting used to Patrick Warburton's voice and Peter Serafinowicz, I heard the one from the cartoon and I was like, oh. The only thing that's better about it is I kind of like, I can't think of the moth's name.
Oh, Arthur.
Arthur.
Yeah.
I was going to say Adam, and I'm like, no, it's not Adam. But I like Arthur a little bit better in the cartoon, although he's not bad in the other ones. It's just that was the only thing that I was latching on to. And I was like, I just can't get into this cartoon. I genuinely tried watching 2 or 3 episodes, and I was like, this is terrible.
Yeah, with the cartoon, I watched, when it first came out, I was enjoying it, and then I kind of fell off from it, and I would see periodic, just episodes here and there, and that was it. Like, I've never sat down and watched the whole series, like the animated series, but I've seen both of the live action series. I watched the Peter Serafinowicz one a couple times through, because I really enjoyed that. I like that you got to see the insane side of the Tick, which worked really well.
Yeah, no, you don't usually see that. Only in the comic books do you really get that.
Right, and that's what I liked is like, oh, this is they're taking, kind of a comic book approach to it, which I thought was cool.
Especially like at the beginning where Arthur's like, I don't even know if he's a real person.
Yes, I loved that. Like Arthur's story arc in that version, I really, really liked. It's funny, someone had asked me back in like 2002 or 2003 or something when I was working at a grocery store, and one of the cashiers, he was just going around asking everyone, just shouting across the store to other employees. He was like, who's your favorite superhero? Who's your favorite superhero? When he got to me, I was like, the Tick, and he just burst out laughing.
Is he still your favorite superhero?
I don't know. He's definitely still up there. I find him very interesting and just fun, so I don't know if he's my favorite. So unfortunately, I can't count. He's kind of I'm gonna, because what keeps coming up because of that era is Homestar Runner.
I remember that.
And I'm like, Strong Bad is great. Yeah.
I remember Strong. Well,
he's not a hero. He is a villain. He is a wannabe villain. He wishes he was a villain.
Yeah. Those whole. So I remember those. I had a friend in middle school who was into those.
Oh, okay.
And I remember thinking like, oh, this is like so like. Not bad, like, like it's terribly done, but bad, like, oh god, this is like this is the stuff my mom doesn't want me to watch.
Oh, okay.
And it ended up not being like it's. I mean, it's got its.
They push a line up to a certain point.
Yeah.
Like they take the PG and they like push PG about what you can get away with.
But it's
PG.
not terrible. It's not like seeing profane things.
Right. Yeah.
Isn't it interesting though? You were talking. People always have their favorite superhero, and like people will read into that. They're like, you like the Tick, so you're deranged, or you're like Batman, so you're clearly a loner and a creep. And I'm like,
or a wealthy billionaire. Oh yeah.
We have people to pay. I mean, no, we're never mind.
So, yeah, that's. What do you think it says about me that I like the Tick?
I think it might just say that you have an interest in non-conventional things, especially because it has both humor and seriousness to it. Mm-hmm. And I tend to notice that with your comedy. Like when you make characters in a scene in improv, you don't just do like, oh, I'm going to be the funny guy, or you don't just do like, I'm going to be the serious guy. Like there's like, I'm going to do something that sounds outrageous, but I think it's serious, so like that's where the funny comes from.
Yeah, it's playing it straight.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what's funny is improv, I know you missed improv on Monday, but Paula, she had us doing these character things where it was, I don't know if she was calling it Take 5 or something 5, where we had to come and do a character. She got a profession, and it's like, okay, do that profession. So we were doing a solo scene that profession, and then she'd say next, and we had to change how we were doing the character. And I had a drill sergeant therapist, and she was letting the scenes go on for quite a bit of time, as opposed to just getting an idea for the character. She was seeing where we were taking the character as well. And so I was like kind of toying with the boundaries. So I was like going in directions that I'm like, okay, is she gonna like say next? Is she gonna let me play this out fully? So I was like just taking therapy things. Like there was one where the final one that I did was the therapist was coming like the client was inviting the therapist back to their place because they have a better couch than what's in the office. And I was taking it, like, clearly, violating all sorts of HIPAA compliance, ethics laws. And, I was just like, okay, let's see how far Paula's going to let me take this scene. But, just toying with it a little bit.
I can't get out of my head. I don't remember his name. He's the drill sergeant in Full Metal Jacket.
Do you know what? I've never seen it. Like, I can picture him, but...
Oh, yeah. No, he's got, like, it's like Army Lee or Lee Army, something like that. But he's famous not only for doing that film, but, like, he actually did, like, a TV documentary series where he would talk about war history and stuff.
Oh, okay. So that was, like, a passion of his, then.
I don't know if it was passion or more of like that's just kind of where he got stereotyped. Because he played the military dad of House in House.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've been in the room when House is on because my ex-wife used to watch House a lot, so I would pass through the rooms when it was on. But things that are too medical, I can't really. Disturbing? Yeah, like I have to leave the room and I can't be around that sort of thing. I get like.
Sure. I get you.
Uneasy. So what is something about you that I don't know yet that you would like me to know?
Thought about this one because I've seen the other
You've seen that? Okay.
I think the thing I would want you to know that you don't know about yourself.
About you?
Or, well, about me, but it ends up being about you as well.
Oh, my goodness.
I was almost done with theater. Like, I wasn't going to do any more.
Okay.
And when you asked me to do Let's Play Dragon Hatchers, I was like, okay, I'll try it. And if it hadn't been for that show, I would never have met all the young actors and actresses that I really grow very fond of. So
yeah,
I was on the precipice of saying, okay, well, I'm not going to do theater anymore. Like, this isn't fun. I don't enjoy it. And I feel like I'm just doing it to do it.
Okay.
And at that point, I had just done the first Sherlock play. So I was like, I got to do Sherlock Holmes. I got to have a lot of the people in this show that I really wanted to have in the show. So I was like, I don't need to do any more. And if it hadn't been for your show, I would have been like, oh, I don't have an opportunity to work with any of these people.
Okay.
So
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that you we're still involved. I mean, I don't know if it's for your sake or my sake as an audience member or what, because you've been super busy, and I don't know if you're happy about being super busy.
I don't mind it.
Okay.
I think there are moments where I'm like, I wish I had more free time.
Yeah.
But I've never been like, oh God, miserable.
So what is it that people tend to do to get you back into shows, like when you're like, yeah, I think I'm going to be done, or I don't want to be involved in this show, and then you kind of get pulled in and you're helping anyway and you're doing various things with it?
For a couple of the shows it was, well, we need people to be in the show, we don't have anybody else to do it.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, I can do that. And sometimes it's just, well, you can memorize lines very quickly. I think it's less to do with, oh, you're a good actor, more it's...
You're available,
and if we throw, 10 pages or 20 pages of lines at you, you can get it done in a couple of days.
Yeah, you have a lot of very good stage talents, and just talents that work very well just with acting and stage work and stuff. I mean, between, like, all the characters that you can do, which it's always impressive and fun, with all the character work you do, and then just with, like, being able to direct and being able to, to act and make things flow on a stage well, and, improvising, and, like, even down to, like, set design and costuming and all of that stuff. Like, you have that entire skill set, which is really cool.
It seems like it from the outside. From the inside, it's like held up by glue, stitches, and a prayer.
Well, one thing that people you have not even met but have seen you on stage and stuff have commented to me, and so this is a thing you are known for, and you might, I don't know how much you hear this, but...
I like Batman.
that nobody is aware of that yet. This is now coming out, this Batman thing. We're going to need you to expand on that. But the fact that you just have good clothing sense and fashion and like style and stuff, like, people always compliment how well dressed you always are. Like, and they'll basically point at me and say, he needs to help you pick out clothes and stuff like that. So where does that sense of style come from? Like, the fact that you know how to dress yourself, how'd you do that?
I don't know if it's know how to dress myself. I think there were a couple of characters or a couple of TV shows that really kind of guided me in what I wanted to... Like, I have a particular image in my head of what I think I want to look like.
Oh, okay.
So that's the goal. I think the big three are Sherlock, the BBC series from like 2009 with Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, that was really good.
The Mentalist, which
I'm familiar with The Mentalist. Yeah.
And little bit of a Batman the Animated Series. Specifically, now some people don't count this as part of the Batman the Animated Series. It's called The New Adventures, the New Batman Adventures, which is like, I counted as season 4 of Batman the Animated Series. Yeah,
I mean, I've seen, like, advertisements and stuff for it before. Like, I'm familiar with its existence.
But it's not really the 4th season, because it wasn't like they made 1, 2, and 3. That show doesn't even have really seasons. It has, like, they just made a boatload of episodes.
Okay.
And then they got renewed, made another boatload of episodes. I think it's more like 2 seasons. And then it wasn't really canceled. They just stopped making it because they were doing Superman and they were doing other projects. And they were like, we should make a Batman that ties into Superman. So they made that Batman like a couple of years after the animated series. But I like that art style. And so in that one, Bruce Wayne always has like a black suit on and like a red tie. And that's where I was like, oh, that's not a bad look. But all 3 of those kind of like influence it. So like Sherlock always wears like dark suits. And in The Mentalist, he's always wearing a 3-piece. And so like a lot of that kind of all came together.
So was this something like once you got out of college, or were you like, did you get influenced that way, like even while, back then?
So it's not a secret, but I only told a few people this, but when I was in high school, I had a group of friends, and one of them was Sarah, and she was gothic. Like, she almost always wore the same uniform, which was black drip pants, some kind of a band t-shirt every day. And all of her friends, and they were my friends as well, dressed in a similar way or had like their own kind of like darker aesthetic.
Okay.
In fact, the only time they didn't do that was when they did what were called hippie trip days, where she would wear trip pants and then like a tie-dye shirt on top, which was kind of like her idea of being like, oh, we're contrasting. We've got super duper happy on top and then dark gloomy on the bottom. So I tried to fit in, but I didn't have gothic clothes, and I was worried my mom would be like, oh, my son is troubled and disturbed. So I decided, well, I have black polos and I have black dress pants and black shoes, and I have black suit jackets. So I can make that into something as close to gothic as I can.
Okay.
So I was the Victorian gothic, or like the very, very posh gothic of the group. And that kind of just persisted. Like anytime I hung out with Sarah, that would be the outfit that I wore. And it developed, like it became less of a polo shirt and more of a dress shirt and things of that nature. But that's where it started.
Yeah, so back in high school then, where it kind of evolved. The funny thing, though, is that it also has, like, that same, like, emo pop-punk style at that time, where you'd have people wearing, like, a tie and stuff.
That's why it worked out. It was the only time it really kind of didn't was there was one time when we were in college, and they're like, you don't really seem... someone walked up and said, you don't really seem like you fit in because you're in, like, a dress suit and black. Like, it's dark, but it's not like the others, which was more grungy at times.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, well, I'm just a different type of goth, not that type of goth. But yeah.
Okay, no, that's interesting. And since the glitch world is telling us that it's been in time that they want us to do. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm just making.
I think you're trying to more or less get along. Like it's been a certain amount of time allocated to this conversation, and you were more or less trying to wrap that up, aren't you?
I am. That's what's going on here. So I need you to finish a statement for me that starts with Jason as your friend, and add whatever you want to the end of it.
I think this is what I'll go with. Jason, as your friend, I want you to know that you're appreciated more than you think you are by the other people around you. And that you do a lot, and that you give a lot, and that even though you think maybe you're not as liked or as worthy as you perceive it, you really are. And a lot of people think very highly of you and respect you and think that you are incredibly creative. And
thank you.
Unlike a lot of other people who aren't willing to take a challenge and take something in a different direction, you are. And working with you and doing things like Dragon Hatcher is like, okay, well, I have to up my game and think about ways in which I can be creative and do more adventurous things. Because I mean, some people would argue you and I aren't that different in that respect, because we both do like a ridiculous amount of stuff.
Steve actually compares both of us in the fact that he likes to jump in, that you and I do a bunch of different projects, and he likes to jump in on the various things that both of us do.
Mm-hmm. But I think the difference is, like, we both do a lot of projects. I feel like I have my little niche of things that I enjoy.
Okay.
And can be all very similar. But you're like, I'll do this, and then I'll do something over here, and then something totally off the reservation. And it all works.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because when last year, I'm sure you remember when we had the little Zoom call where it was like me, you, Leslie, Tim, Santi, and stuff, and we were all talking about possibly collaborating on something longer term, like bigger, and I forget if it was you or whoever asked, well, what are you exactly going for? And I listed like 4 very different things.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's a bunch of different stuff I want to do.
I still give you this. I don't know if it was me, but I do think I had the idea. I still say you should find the one that you really, really like and pursue it. But at the same time, I applaud you for having the courage to do all those different things, and you do them all well.
Thank you.
I worry about the same thing that I worry about me, that you'll get burned out after doing 9 of them. But you don't seem to have that, so I'm glad you have that drive.
Thank you. Oh, there's one more question I want to ask you, even though I asked the thing I normally ask at the end. But I want to know this, so I'm going to ask it. So you have similar, like, sensory sensitivities, like some various things. I'm too sensitive to be able to do things like stage makeup and stuff like that, but when you're doing like your characters and stuff, sometimes you need to. How does that impact you with sensory needs?
Oh god, it's a nightmare.
Oh, it is. Okay.
So a lot of the shows I've had to do, like when I did Two Gentlemen of Verona, I had to have orange hair. Mm-hmm. When I played Scrooge, I had to make myself look like I was 70 years old, and I had to wear just makeup over my entire face and neck. When I've done the Joker, my hair, my face is all covered in makeup, everything. Mm-hmm. Even when I do Sherlock Holmes, I have my hair slicked back. I put a little bit of makeup on for Sherlock Holmes, but not a lot. But anytime I put makeup on, it makes I feel like I have to touch my face or itch it or like wipe it off, and I can't. So I spend the entire time like keeping my hands held in place so that I don't touch it, which drives me up a wall. And I want to watch. Like that's why whenever we're done with the show, I'm like I want to go home and wash it off right then and there. My hair is the worst. Like whenever I have my hair sprayed or like dyeing it a certain color isn't too bad because I can still like touch it and it's not too bad.
Oh, okay.
But when it's held in place and it feels like I've got a helmet or like some kind of like wig on or something like that, like I feel like I got to get it off. That's why, and I try to be kind about this because people always want to go like, oh, let's go out after a show or let's go do something. And sometimes you can take off most of the stuff you have, but like I usually can't get the hair stuff out, at least in a satisfactory way. I'm always like, okay, I'm just going to endure this and try to make it through, but it's awful. I hate it.
Okay. Well, I commend you for being able to handle all that, even though it bothers you, because I'm like, I don't think I could do that. So I commend you.
It's awful. I mean, I do it because, like, in my mind, I need it to be the character or to look different. Because I had this thing where I don't want to look like myself on stage.
Yeah.
I want to be the character or look at least not be it, because contrary to what other actors say, I don't think method acting is really the best way to do stuff.
It's not my style at all.
I've known too many actors that got way too deep into it. But for me, it's about looking like the character as much as I can so that you can say, like, okay, that's not Michael on stage. That's such and such character. Still might be my interpretation of it, but, like, it's not me on stage.
Yes.
And that makes it a lot easier for me to act. When I look like myself, I'm like, oh. But there are shows where I haven't had to have any makeup and I haven't had to have a wig on or anything. And I'm like, oh, this is nice because I can just be done with the show after I'm done and just take off my costume.
Yeah.
And I love those, but when it's makeup. Please tell me you have a pillow now.
I have two.
Good.